refers to itself. It makes like self-reference. The Quran talks about how it is a book which there is no doubt. It challenges mankind. It says in one verse, chapter 4, verse 82, if you guys want to write it down, it says, why don't they research the Quran? Don't they realize that if it was from someone other than Allah, they'd find many discrepancies in it. And many things you'll come across in the Quran, they weren't discovered until the last century. And these are some of the scientific miracles we believe that exist in the Quran.
Yeah, so some of you bio and science majors will find this pretty cool. So it says in one of the verses of the Quran, have not the unbelievers ever considered the skies and the earth were once one mass, then we split them asunder? And we have created every living thing from water. Will they still not believe? And so what's unique about this verse is the fact that, and you guys are familiar with the fact, we're pretty much all water. And this is something, for people who say that Muhammad wrote the Quran, he was illiterate, he was unlettered, he was uneducated 1,400 years ago. There is no way that anyone without modern technology could have known this kind of stuff. And he was living in the deserts of Arabia. He was a Bedouin with no kind of technology at all. And actually another really cool verse that we can read is okay, this actually talks about the fetus and how the fetus within the mother's womb. And it says, indeed we have created man from an extract of clay, then placed him as a drop of semen in a firm resting place. Then changed the semen into a leech-like mass, then the leech-like mass into a fetus lump, then the fetus lump into bones. Then clothed the bones with flesh, and then we brought him forth as quite a different creature from the embryo. So pretty much, actually, I believe he was an American scientist. He actually said that this description of the fetus is the most accurate description he has ever seen. And this occurred 1,400 years ago. The way in which the baby is formed in the mother's womb, going from a fetus into the life being breathed into it and becoming a child, is actually something that was just discovered in the mid-1900s. So this is something spectacular that a Bedouin could have been saying things like this. The only way to prove it is that he himself was things were being revealed to him by God.
Okay, so the Quran was revealed to the Prophet Muhammad over a span of 23 years. It's unique in the sense that the Quran didn't come all together at one time. And the first revelation that the Prophet received was at the age of 40, and the very last verse he received was at the age of 63 before his death. And the whole entire Quran was completed before his death. And the Quran we have today, the order we have the Quran today isn't the order that the verses were revealed and whatnot. And the Quran is the #1 most memorized and read book on the earth. I think if I can recall, there's statistics that say that there's about like 9 million people today, about 9 million, that might be a little bit more, a little bit less, to have the whole entire Quran memorized. And another thing is that the Quran is translated into many languages and whatnot, but the translation is not considered the Quran. The Quran is only considered the Quran in its Arabic form.
Also, it's important to note that when you're reading it in the Arabic text, there's certain words that might have double meanings, and the words with double meanings aren't actually contradicting anything. Like, for instance, if the word bear is being used, then, like, I bear witness, for instance, right? You can use it in that way, and then you can also say, like, I am a grizzly bear. Both ways would actually work in the Quran, and both ways would make sense. So it actually shows just how dynamic and how the Quran can often come.
So if you open up an Arabic Quran, this is technically what you'll find. The calligraphy in itself is a work of art. So this is what most Arabic Qurans look like. And the second part of the way Islamic law is formulated is through the sayings of the Prophet Muhammad. And here are just a few. So Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, said, God will show no compassion on the one who has no compassion towards all humankind. As well, there's a verse in the Quran that says, if you kill one person, it is as if you killed all of mankind. And if you save the life of one person, it is as if you saved all of mankind. As well, another saying, God does not look upon your bodies in appearance, He looks upon your hearts and your deeds. So this is, in today's like materialistic society, people are often looking at outer appearances. What kind of car do I drive? What kind of clothes am I wearing? Out of red carpet and like celebrities, flashing lights and whatnot, and like everyone looks on People magazine or something, see what the latest celebrities are wearing. So what is important in Islam is not how you look on the outside, but rather what's on the inside, what's in your heart and what you truly believe and your sincerity. Another cool quote, Seeking knowledge is obligatory upon every Muslim, male and female. Actually, the first words revealed to the Prophet Muhammad, and this just shows the significance of knowledge in Islam, is that he was told to read. And the idea behind it is that as Muslims, we should be striving to be on top of like our educational game. We should always be at the forefront in fields of education. And one of the remarkable things about Islam is lots of religions they try to differentiate. There's theological fields, and then there's secular fields like engineering, social sciences, and then there's religious fields. In Islam, there's no such differentiation. If I'm a social scientist, if I'm doing it in order to better society, and I'm doing it for the greater good of pleasing God, then you can pretty much say this is a religious field that I'm studying. And that by studying this, I am fulfilling God's commandment upon me to seek knowledge and to better the society in which I live in. And last but not least, none of you truly believes until he loves for his brother what he loves for himself. And there's actually another saying of the Prophet that goes along with this that says, I cannot go to sleep at night knowing that my neighbor is hungry. My neighbor is going to sleep hungry. So it is incumbent upon me, this ties into the whole idea of charity. I have to give back to those around me and I have to better my society. And also, there's other sayings of the Prophet Muhammad that not only teach us about the way we should live our lives, but give like predictions of the future. For example, he's actually, another of his sayings say that the Arabs will come upon black gold. And I don't know if you guys are familiar with oil, it kind of runs the world, but that's black gold, pretty much. And another one is that the Bedouins will compete in the building of tall buildings. If you look at a country like Dubai, which is in the Arabian Peninsula, these were people that 60, 70 years ago were Bedouins, like living off of like camel milk and dates. And right now they have the tallest buildings in the world. And these are just a few of like the remarkable sayings of the Prophet Muhammad that 1400 years ago may have seemed crazy, and now they're coming to life. So, as you may be well aware, Islam has come to America. And we're not the first ones to bring Islam to America. In fact, Muslims have been here for centuries. Islam in America started as early as the African slaves that were brought in the 16th century by the Spaniards. And at this time, the Spanish were actually, they had just gone out of the Inquisition, which was pretty much the forced removal of all Muslims and Jews out of Spain. And at the time when they were establishing colonies within the Americas, they actually mandated and they put in a law that said no Muslim slaves can be brought directly from Africa to the Americas. They have to first be taken to Spain, converted, and then brought to the Americas. And this actually happened for 50 years. And the Muslim slaves were usually at the forefront of slave movements that were in order to like free the slaves. And as well, slavery continued until around the 19th century. At that point, 19th and 20th century, you have immigrants. Most everyone in here that is Muslim, their parents were immigrants. And then you have us, American-born Muslims as well. And actually, oh yeah, another fun question. Anyone know any famous Muslim Americans that have contributed to the society? Yes. Who stated one earlier? Hakim Muhammad, Malcolm X, Muhammad Ali. Also, you may not be familiar, Dave Chappelle, another Muslim American. Lupe Fiasco is another Muslim American. And actually, Lupe Fiasco was actually born Muslim. Dave Chappelle actually came to Islam. Also, another relevant kind of plug in our other talks for this week. Tomorrow and the day after, we have two American-born and then converted to Muslim speakers that you guys should definitely come out to. Napoleon on Thursday, and then Abdul tomorrow. Napoleon is from the Tupac's albums, by the way. And he converted in 1996. And so this gives another scope of the Muslims in America and our ethnic diversity. And actually, African American makes up the greatest percentage of Muslims in America. Yeah.
Do you know like what the overall composition is like all over the Americas? Like, do you like? In America?
I'm not sure, but I do know that Islam in Latin America is starting to have presence. Like Islam is gaining presence in Latin America. And there is actually within the Latin community, if you want to